All I can do is my best. You know, that's all you can do.
Two dads and a Chaz, putting trophies on the wall. Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two dads and a Chaz, talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Most of gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air conditioning, cause it's bound to get hot. Two dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides them rings and putting trophies on the wall.
Trophies, y'all.
Two dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.
And welcome back to Two Dads and a Chaz Football Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Fauché, joined by 3 of the 4 total pod members today. We got Aaron Mayhew. How you doing, Aaron Mayhew? How you doing?
Really good, boys. Let's talk some packs.
We also got Ty Window. It's Ty Window.
Dad's eventual Chaz, Packer fans worldwide. If you loved punts, poor ball handling, and non-contact injuries, then that Bears game was for you.
How about stink face? Add stink face to that. The floor looked like he put a rotten fish in his sweatshirt before the game. I'm Tyson. Thanks again for coming out. We're so glad to have you guys. We are going to break down, of course, the Bears game and look forward to our matchup against the Eagles. But it is important to process what just happened. You know, we play against the Bears. It makes you feel a certain way. And as much as logic might want you to suppress those feelings, I'm going to give you a safe space. You guys can just kind of let it out. Just let that pressure release valve. Just give it a little pull. Lighten the load a little bit. I got to know, how did you feel? Seconds were ticking down in that game, and it became apparent we're going to lose to the Bears. Ty!
I felt terrible. This was maybe my least favorite loss of the season. Vikings, Lions, they're good teams, but something about that loss at Lambeau to the Bears. It's too many bad things at the same time. And no, this one tore me up.
What's your favorite loss?
My favorite loss was when the first Lions, where it was like, oh my God, are we going to not lose this one? That was by far the best loss.
Before we recognized the patterns and we thought, oh, we got this.
Right. This is how we lose. I didn't know this is how we lose at the time. I just thought, neat, they come back.
Aaron Mayhew, how did you feel the final seconds ticking down? I'm sure there were cries reverberating throughout the tall ceilings of your house of people asking questions. I got to know, how do you feel in that chaos? The seconds ticking down.
With the seconds ticking down. Look, I'm gonna be blunt here, and you can say this game didn't matter. A lot of people out there, and it's true. End of day. But up until like a few minutes left in the fourth quarter, Washington was losing, and we could have potentially risen up to the 6th seed. So you're gonna tell me it's not important? I disagree. I think this team also badly needed some kind of positive momentum rolling into the playoffs, or at least kind of just get rid of some of these wrinkles that we've been seeing, where we just have some kind of consistency and an identity kind of going in. And for me, gentlemen, I don't want to be bleak, but I'm going to shoot you fucking straight. I think it was maybe the worst coach game by Matt LaFleur of his tenure. And I'm not just trying to drag up drama. I need him to stop talking to the refs, just like first and foremost. Like, you need to just like stop, man. And your challenge flags are almost useless at this point. His time management in the final 2 minutes, we're going to dig into those details in a little bit. The big play calls, whether it's 4th downs, 2-point conversions, he looks like a sweaty mess on the sidelines, where he's calling a timeout because he's not prepared, he's not getting the call in quick enough, or the call is just not creative, and it's trash. At this point in the season, I expect more from what is considered a rather brilliant offensive mind in the game. And just the consistency of the approach for the game. I don't know what the hell we were doing out there. Like, if you don't think you need to win the game and you want to rest some guys, you don't want to show too much because you're kind of saving it up for like the playoffs, that's totally fine. But he seemed to like waver back and forth where he wasn't quite sure. And my biggest concern is that this nervousness is kind of trickling down to the team, and it's becoming palpable a little bit. And my God, penalties. That's the last one I'm going to say. And it's not like he's not getting together with his team every goddamn week and being like, we got to be disciplined. We got to do this. We got to do that. I'm sure he is. But at the end of the day, I don't know who else to blame. This has been a season-long scenario where it's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot consistently. All of this together makes me nervous about success in the playoffs, fellas.
Yeah, I don't know how you watch that game and feel good about going into the playoffs. I can find silver linings and little parts of the game. There was positives, and we'll go over some pros and some cons, and even the consequences of this game. There's some pros and cons, long, short term, yada, yada. This was hard to see. It reminded me of how the Eagles went into the playoffs last year. I don't know if you remember last year. They lost 2 games. They lost 2 back into the playoffs and just ice cold. In the playoffs, there's lost. It's physical. The same Eagles team with the minus Saquon. It's hard to not look at us and be like, maybe we're in that same position. I see Matt struggling with inner turmoil, and I see it on his face, and I know that face. I've seen it before. I've been that guy in some ways before. It happens when you try and do too much, and then you can't do things that you usually would never forget to do. Little details that you take for granted because you took too many things on. You tried to be too much for too many people. Implement too many things at once. The frustration of those things not working became your focus, and you forgot about the big picture for like a chunk, and you got to get back into it. And then you get a fucking penalty and you freak out and you're like, why is this happening to me? He's haunted by his situation. He looks like Jim Harbaugh out there. Like Tom Cruise kicking the dirt, stomping around, freaking out. Like every movie he's ever been in his whole life. Look it up. He kicks the dirt with his shoe every time. He works it in.
And he's trying to teach his incredibly complicated brand of football to 22, 23, and 24-year-olds. He's almost like a dance dad who's got like too many daughters in a minivan and is just losing his goddamn mind, running these girls to fucking jazz and like, all this other shit.
Yeah.
This is where Matt LaFleur is at right now. Is just like realizing that he's got to turn the fuck around, even though he just pulled into the goddamn driveway. And he'll figure out dinner on the drive home, I guess.
No, because we can't dance without shoes, can we, girl?
Yeah, right.
Can we?
It's just all he goddamn does is just love this
bring
man.
The shoes, did they, Tabitha?
Screaming, wants to give them his good fatherly advice, and they won't fucking listen to him because
these judges don't like me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
but they don't like me. So you
gentlemen,
better perform.
Thank you for pulling us out of that funk. I laid the foundation of right out of the get-go here, but I'm going to keep going here. Rich Bisaccia, I need to see less of this guy. I need less. He was the most prominent sideline individual. How are we getting faked out by that? Like, this isn't high school anymore. We're like, a guy's like, oh, I'm about to catch the ball. It's like, aren't you turning around as professional and tracking this thing? Yeah. This is week 18. Come on, man.
They hypnotize you with a whole year of worthless kickoffs, an entire year where nothing could happen. And you stand there. At this point, you're like, so what'd Susan get for Christmas? Oh, we got to go. No one's taking it seriously. As the guy at the game that I was at said, wasted my time. He's a waste of my time. Don't need to do that. Wasted my time.
Me and Tyson have gone back and forth on this. Maybe you can settle this as the tying vote. That long kick, was Bisaccia trying to talk LaFleur out of it? Was LaFleur like arguing?
One of them didn't want to do it.
Right. That looked like a confrontation, like on that.
I got a wild accusation, but Mayhew, I want your take first.
No, I totally agree. I
thought it was Bisaccia saying he's got it. He kicked these in warm-ups, and LaFleur was like, in this direction, and Bisaccia is like, yeah, more or less. And LaFleur is like, was it in this direction or the other direction? I think that's what my take was.
I guess my take was like, he's just trying to buy as much time as possible because he doesn't fucking know. Matt's like, oh, they're going to want me to call a play if we don't kick it. Shit, I got nothing. We can do an end around with Jaden. No? Shit.
I'm just yelling at my coach for a while.
Okay, I got a classic T-Bone wild accusation here for you. You guys ready?
Please.
Yeah.
I think Matt LaFleur straight up hates Rich Bisaccia. I think he does. I think he hates this guy. I think he's been well known as a backstabber who is ready to take that job as soon as Matt makes as many mistakes as he's going to make. Thank God you got me. Help fix it up for you. He's like the father-in-law that shows up and starts like changing your project when you're in the middle of it. But you're like, I don't need you here, Rich. I got this shit. Now he has his best friend here We all forgot he's still hanging out with Bald Bestie. So he feels that he's got the new defensive coordinator. He's feeling pumped up, and you got fucking prickly haired Rich coming in here and be like, hey, douchebags, what's going on? you fear he's going to get some good wins this week? It's just old school in it. And they're like, I don't think he's connecting. I think Rodgers and him were a little more Generation X, like on the same page. But I don't feel like anyone else in this team fits his vibe. I don't know who he's connecting with, but it's not the special teams in general. It's never been more apparent that he's going to have to fire another coach and hire another coach, which is what he does not want to do. He just wants to have, this is why I see the inner turmoil. He's like, I just wanted to get us to this thing. And I just want us to be, so we got to get this on tape. In the next 2 weeks, we got to get this on tape, but we can't get anybody hurt. Okay. But we got to get people out there. Wait, who's hurt? Dobbs is out. He's sick. All right, well, let me just see if Christian can do it. Christian, I know your leg's not better, but could you think you could do it? You can? Okay, we'll put Christian in there. We're good. Okay, we're scheduled. Like, you can just see the anxiety building. Any extra drop makes the pot boil. He's done too much. Or he's a brilliant son of a bitch, and I got that theory coming later. But I that would be very hopeful that he's actually thought this through and did a full year-long con on the entire NFL.
Okay.
Talking about Matt LaFleur.
I'm with Bisaccia, though. Here's the thing. The connecting, the whatever out of water, duck out of water doesn't fit with the rest of the coaching staff is one thing. If you're getting results, the results that Rich Bisaccia has fucking gotten us this year have been just other people's highlight reels. We are getting 1998 Shaq postered. That's my thing with Bisaccia is the production. You look at it.
He's like
nobody else is falling for that shit.
We overpaid for him because he was a head coach. He was the interim head coach of the Raiders, and I think they got to the playoffs maybe that year, or they made a run. One way or another, there was some heart involved, and people were convinced that Rich Bisaccia is something. We needed a special teams coordinator, and he was willing. And I think he took that job because he's like, this is the guy that might get me another interim head coach job. That he thought that maybe Matt wasn't going to make it. I think that's why he took the job. And he thought and I think it started with him mentoring him and Rodgers being like, we can save this dipshit and this little pussy. And I now at this point, it's Matt's show. He's doing it. And Rich is just not. And he's probably still has a lot of opinions. It looked like to me, Matt was like, we're going to kick the field goal. He's like, he'll never make it. He'll never make it. 55. He can't make that 55-yarder. He's like, you're the fucking special teams coordinator. How are you fucking telling me that this guy can't? I know we're going to fucking kick the field goal. He's like, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Okay, well, I wouldn't. Anyway. Ugh. Like that's what I saw. I saw Matt be like, this fucking dipshit is doing this. Is just another problem I got. Tabitha forgot the shoes.
Here, let's swing towards the positive. Obviously, that field goal did go in, but I got to say, Danny Boy with that high snap right at the beginning of the game, picks it back up and gets that kickoff. That was incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen a punter not just start running like an idiot and get drilled 5 yards later. That guy is a goddamn all-star. Did he make a Pro Bowl? He fucking should have. Like, who else is in front of this guy?
There are some pretty incredible punters this year.
Name two.
Well, I don't want to.
Name one.
I'll start there. I choose not to. It's my right as an American. Okay. So don't tread on me.
Whoever's punting for the Patriots has probably got like 480 punts this season.
That's quantity, not quality, though, Ty. I assume.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
So I'm going to go with 4, where he fights the Russian dude in the Olympics.
But
that's the one, right?
You think Rocky 1 is your one you'll watch?
Like 1,000 times over. Yeah.
Oh, so slow. All right.
No,
Sam,
it's great.
What did you think of Rocky 1?
Why is this recording?
It is. What did you think of Rocky 1?
I thought Rocky 1 was really good. I liked the Apollo Creed fight and.
But what did you like the most of 1, 3, and 4 that we've watched so far? Which one did you like the most?
4.
4. It has the robot. Youths can change, and we's can change.
Yep.
Everybody can change.
The most patriotic of montages.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I would say like probably the best soundtrack. Rocky 4 has got some like. You want to get pumped up?
Yeah,
start
that's it. Yeah, Rocky 4 will get you going.
I love our portrayal of like Russians too. It's like Rocky's climbing mountains and like lifting carts like next to a fire, and like they got Dolph Lundgren just like shooting up steroids and running laps in the gym.
Hey, Dad.
Just blinking lights.
For some reason, Rocky 4 isn't on Amazon.
Oh, that is weird.
Can we get it?
No.
Why?
No, we don't need that right now.
Why?
Because we should watch Rockies we haven't seen. And also, I got to do the podcast. Real quick, Sam, well, we got you here. What did you think of the Packers-Bears game?
Oh.
Because you were passionate. You guys, Sam
What I
came in
thought
hot.
about the Packers versus the Bears game?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Horrible, huh? From a 9-year-old's mouth to your ears. Why, Sam?
Because the game was the Packers haven't lost against the Bears since 2017. This is the shockingest moment in football history. And no one likes when the Bears win it against the Packers. The Packers were way better than the Bears. We thought they would win this. And I have one question. I have one question for you, Packers. What were you doing?
That's all gold.
Hot, guys.
What were they doing?
That's a hot take.
They were doing horrible today. They weren't doing it.
If you were born in 2015, this is a big deal, okay? This means the majority of your life that you have been a dominant franchise over this team. You finally saw a loss. Like, what else can happen now?
11 wins in a row. That's what we had going against the Bears.
Really upset with the refs. He didn't understand what was going on. He didn't understand why we weren't playing Jordan Love. He was really hot. He came in hot, coming home from camp right around the fourth quarter. We got some exciting moments there at the end there when they almost came back.
We watched the game at camp.
Yeah.
And we were doing worse.
And you found out your camp instructor that you really like. What did you find out about him?
He's a Bears fan.
It comes
not
out.
the worst thing in the world.
He says, Sammy, fine, Sammy. Sammy, you like a bad team.
We'll show him in the playoffs who's a bad team. What do you think our chances are in the playoffs, Sam?
The Bears suck.
Okay, but what are our chances? What are the Packers' chances in the playoffs?
What are the Packers' chances for the next game?
Yeah.
Yep. We play the Eagles.
They probably were just something was going on. Like they were tired or too cold. I don't know what happened the last game, but I think they're gonna do a little good. They might win this one.
You think they're gonna win this one?
Yeah.
You know who we're playing?
Who?
We're playing a bird team. We're playing the Eagles.
And I'm playing your face.
No. All right. I want to thank my son Sammy for joining us for a minute here. Sam, say goodbye to the people.
Later.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
Last year, we lost to the 49ers, right? By a field goal? And we missed those field goals. How many field goals did that fucking douchebag miss? And we're all ready to kill him. You can't tell me we're not a better team in that department, right? How are we a worse team than last year? We should be able to go in here and give whoever we play a run for their money. We're 1 year older. Everyone seems to have gotten better or stayed the same. Nobody's really regressed. And we're not we're not healthy, but it could be worse. I just don't understand how this team doesn't come out and have that extra gear to perform.
Can I get positive for a brief moment here?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I've never felt more comfortable with a backup quarterback coming in than Malik Willis. This guy, I want love in that game, but when I see Malik on the sideline, warming up, I'm probably going to win this game. And that was another thing with Matt where I felt man, he handcuffed him. He didn't allow him to pass for what felt like the first 9 downs. It's run. Okay. Dude, this guy's done this for you before. Open it up a little bit. And it wasn't until that 17-yard completion to Malik Heath, another positive for the day, my man coming through in spades. It's
major.
Man, let's beat this team. Why are we playing with our food right now? Let's just these guys are terrible. Let's take them down.
And let's get into the pros and cons. A negative, a major con, we lose Christian Watson. He takes the top off the teams. He makes our team better. He gives us this dynamic, unstoppable, so many options. You can't stop everybody and someone should be open, right? But he is not a you-rah-rah player either. Neither is Jordan. Neither is Dobbs. We have a amazing running back and tight end that both are URA players, and they pump us up. We need someone at that wide receiver position, and Heath is it. That dude will block the fucking sun, be excited about it. He pumps up the entire team when he's on the field, and he has not dropped a ball, I don't think, all year. He's only had like one ball every other game, but he hasn't dropped it. That's the point. He's on a streak. Him and Carrington Valentine's. We need the crazy guys to get up front. We need a lot of energy. We need our team to not get stuck on our heads. However, we need to do that. We need to do that because I hate looking scared. I hate going in there and looking scared. And I feel like all we did the last 2 weeks is give fuel to all of the Packers troll fans and all of the people, the Jordan Love haters and Matt LaFleur haters. And I'll tell you what, there's no one in the national media right now that's scared of the Green Bay Packers like they were 2 weeks ago.
It's right where you want to be. You know,
right where you want to be. It's genius. Long con, guys.
LaFleur also does have like a philosophy, and they do implement it well on this like 1-0 mentality of like, and I know you hear it, it's cliche by now. They do a good job of having amnesia almost from the previous week, and it's just because it doesn't seem to carry over. I think they really are just like next team up, which is beneficial when you're going into the playoffs off of 2 losses, but not great when you're trying to build something out and make it bigger. That amnesia factor that helps you get through next week doesn't help you season over season.
Ty, I heard a good take from someone going into the game. You know, the Packers are screwed either way. Like, let's just say you blow the Bears out 40-0. It's like, yeah, you should have, right? And if you somehow lose to them, what do you gain from it? And the entire game, like, I kind of felt this way where it's like, what are we going to get out of this? And then when we don't convert on the 2-point conversion and like the Bears like started the drive and the jinx of the announcers, I love it when they do this shit. Because look, you have to bring it up as an announcer. I get it, but they're like, oh, every Chicago Bear fan in the world is wondering how are they going to blow this? And 3 seconds later, like fumble, like they're giving us the game, you know? And then we kicked that 55-yarder, and in my head, I was like, hey, this is what we gained from it. So many things went wrong, but we somehow kind of come out with this like positive momentum. And then the defense took the field. Let's talk about the final 2 minutes, fellas. We got to break this down. So I just want to give you the offensive rundown here for me. We get that ball back. All we need is a field goal to take the lead. Okay, this is like very, very clear. Now, we weren't going to take too many risks. We're running the ball. What was pissing me off was they have 1 timeout left, Chicago. We can run this clock down as slowly as we want. And I look at the clock, ticking, and we're hiking the ball at like 15 seconds, hiking the ball at like 12. I'm like, why? Run it down, kick the field goal. They have like maybe 17 seconds to do whatever. Completely different game. And that was like with Matt, I was like screaming at the TV. My son is like trying to like learn football. I'm just like, buddy, I'm trying right now.
You're spot on. And I think that just emphasizes the whole game overall of Matt LaFleur's half committed. He was half committed to that 2-minute drill. He was half committed to starters playing. He was halfway in, halfway out. And we all know when you try to do that, you get neither.
I'm going to be a contrarian here, guys. It's not that he was halfly committed. He was overcommitted. Way too many things. Get it ahead, but then get him out after the lead, and we're going to have this guy play for a while, but not for the full game. And then we also don't want to show anything that we're going to play next. The quarterback gets hurt while he's not playing very well. Like the whole thing, he didn't give any room for error. His objective, winning the game, didn't seem like it was at the top or even really on the list of what was important for him and his checks of things to get done for the game.
The hurry up run game was just extremely confusing.
Nobody does that. Like
the hurry up run game.
It's a game of like time, again, like the time management. Okay. So let's just say, okay, wipe that away. You still have the lead. Your defense comes out. Enigbare, God damn it, like that horse collar. Now they're in a little bit too good a position. And then Edgerrin Cooper can't quite slow his roll. Man, he was so lined up to just put Caleb on his back and probably end the game. Fine. Now, We get down into like real crunch time. It's 3rd and 6. The Bears looked like they were scrambling. They're like a little bit confused, and we call the timeout. Now, I don't, if Halfley's like calling down, I don't even care. It's like, Matt, I'm like, call the play. We're going to run this out. But no, we call the timeout, give them plenty of time to think it through. And after that timeout, we run the softest defense. I don't even know what that defense was. We had like 3 safeties, like 30 yards back, like they're going to throw a Hail Mary on 3rd and 6 when we're getting pressure like all day long. I mean, this is just like football, gentlemen.
When the Bears called their final timeout, I was shouting, they don't have a timeout. I didn't realize until after the Bears had called their last timeout that we had actually called that. So that hit me like a minute and a half later that was the most bonehead timeout of the whole season. Because if the Bears don't have a timeout in that final situation, the game's over.
This is 3rd and 6. Their field goal is going to win this game. And you're playing like this. I just don't understand what the mentality there was. And did you see what Caleb's quote? He basically he audibled out of like what they were going to do. Cause he looked at this, just run like a slant to the inside. It was like the easiest completion I've ever seen. Right. And then Valentine, who was guarding him, was like, I was told to force him into the middle, thinking that there's going to be help. Cause I think they thought that the clock was going to run, even though they're at like the 36-yard line at that point with 5 seconds left. That is not a strategy. That is really poor coaching on both ends of the ball. That's all the negative I got, I think.
That's all right. We got to get it out. We definitely do. I mean, any way you slice it, this went one of 2 ways for Matt. Okay. This was either a meltdown of epic proportion, or this was a preseason game that didn't matter. And this fucker's playing chess and not checkers. And this was all part of the plan, guys. I know it's crazy. This is the hottest take on the internet right now. Matt LaFleur has been purposely losing games all year. Okay. I know it sounds crazy when you hear it out loud, but hear me out. Think about this from a playoffs out perspective. If you're playing against a team and you don't play them regularly and you go to the playoffs, if you're going to study them, what are you going to look at? Well, you're probably going to look at all their division games, because in the division games, they're going to have to bring out the gotta have it plays, the exciting stuff that you probably won't see against a regular team that you wouldn't usually play. They got to get a little deeper into the playbook. This is stuff you're likely going to see in the playoffs. Every division opponent, we played the exact same awful strategy the entire first half. And the Eagles, mind you, run up the middle, cute jet sweep, dangerous deep ball. Repeat. That is the Matt LaFleur's panicking game plan for the entire first half, it would seem. So I did it with every single division opponent, and we lost nearly every one of those games. We should have lost the Bears game that we won. Let's get real. If you're playing chess on that level, you can't tell anyone on the team you're doing this. You're doing this for the decoy tape only, so that everybody else has this tape on us. This is what we run when chips are down. This is what we run when we're losing. This is how we handle pressure, knowing that we can do a much better system. But what good is showing that when they can then be prepared for it? When we started this year, what were we talking about? Matt LaFleur, coach of the year. Like, we were having that conversation week 2. Then we have Malik Willis come in. We're like, I don't know. Then Malik Willis does so well. We're like, Matt LaFleur, coach of the year. It wasn't until we went and honestly lost that game to the Vikings, and we kind of got out coached. And he's like, fuck, that guy's going to win coach of the year. I think he switched it. This is my hot take. I think he switched his strategy and said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I know I can't beat the Lions, so I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to put up a fight in the second half. But we're not going to use any gotta have it plays until the last few minutes, and we're just going to lose these games by just enough. Keep everybody convinced that we're, maybe not what we are, and then we show up looking like Green Bay Packers against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs last year. That's what I want to see against the Eagles. If he comes out and does the longest rope-a-dope of all time, who's coach of the fucking year now? Matt LaFleur. That's the greatest coaching performance of all time. Nobody ever would do that, because he's the only one that could, because his job was so safe at the beginning of the year. By week 4, he's unfireable at that point. And he built this army of young kids that are going to make mistakes. And the only way they learn is making mistakes. You got to let them make mistakes. Let's put them in a position to make a lot of mistakes. We can learn a lot of lessons, okay? I'm going to put Jordan back there. I'm going to say, you cannot audible. I want you to roll right with no protection and throw deep from the end zone. Do it. The good plays have got to be coming, right? What if there's a whole nother playbook? Because we got the Malik playbook. We got the coaches scared playbook. And then we got the all right, we're just going to beat the doors off these guys playbook. And I just hope that we can go with the third one exclusively from here on out. And again, I keep saying, how many in a row do you got? I think he knows this team can't win more than 4 games in a row. Well, we're right there, guys. We only need to win 4. We could do that.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Is that I just want to get to the point that we're realizing that this game, as frustrating as it was, and as fair as it is to be frustrated about the game, didn't matter. And you should give it the same amount of weight moving forward as that, because what we're doing tomorrow or next game is everything. Everything we've done this year is about next week. And we happen to have played that team once before. So we have an awful lot to be able to compare and contrast. You know what's funny, guys? I went back and listened to the Stop It. That is air freshener, dude.
What?
You just sprayed air freshener in my hair.
Why does it feel good?
No, it stinks. It's in my hair. I'm wet. Get out of here. You gotta go. It's time to go. Don't do that. That was a poor choice.
Did not mean to.
I know, but that was a poor choice. That was really strong.
I didn't know.
Okay. Oh, all right. I love you. I gotta go do my podcast now. I love you. Oh, my life. I tell you guys, it's crazy over here. It's insane. She hit me with a lot, a 4-second count of Febreze in the back of the dome, Took my hair out and everything while I'm talking. What the fuck?
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
I asked you guys, Matt LaFleur, what kind of coach is he? The kind of coach that does something so well that you can't stop it? Or is he the kind of coach that is a more coach that's going to bring more plays, more new wrinkles, more stuff? Mayhew, what is your answer?
It's definitely not the former.
He's the more coach, right?
Tyson, I'm hoping. And look here, if he's been slow conning the entire league strategically over weeks here,
it feels weird to say, but it might be true. Go ahead.
I will tip my hat. My perception is especially with these divisional games, like the Vikings, the Lions, God, even the Bears, he's feeling more predictable to me this year than he was last year. I love Josh Jacobs. He has added this entire layer of a running game that we've never had. It's almost weird where we've bought into it so much that we're struggling through the air to like find any rhythm. This is the first time too. God, I hate this conversation. But I find myself actually believing in it a little bit, where I like our wide receiver room when it's entirely healthy, right? Maybe we do need a difference maker. I never felt like we needed like a star wide receiver, but man, against zone coverage, Jordan Love is number 5 in the league. Highest percentage like throwing. He's very, very comfortable. That's where we exploded last year, right? Because that's how team played us. Against man coverage, number 32 in the league.
Whoa.
Borderline dead last with like, there's always like, backup quarterbacks and stuff like that. He struggles, fellas. And they're basically getting up on the line, shoving our receivers around because they're not game breakers and the routes aren't quite there. The time is not quite there. He's struggling. He always manages to throw like a few balls in triple coverage. I can't even like tell you why, but I think a formula is out there for what we are really not good at. And I don't think Matt's been able to figure it out. That's my worry.
There's better stuff coming or more of the same, if it's more of the same, I don't.
Well, throw it to Ty. Ty, what's your take on it?
Which one are you? Which kind of coach is he?
These cerebral nerd types all seem to struggle this year, whether it was Shanahan or McVay or what's the nerdiest one down there in Miami, McDonald. They were the I definitely think Matt LaFleur is capable of adapting because we see how much he is willing to steal from other coaches.
Right.
Shamelessly, and I love it. Take all their best stuff. Part of me wanted to say that this is all because, he's losing in the division because it's the other coaches that know him best. because Dan Campbell's faced him 4 times, and Kevin O'Connell's faced him 4 times. 6 times. Back to Mayhew's, like, he's become predictable. I think it was just the familiarity of it, and that he hasn't schemed divisional opponents any differently. This is the result: is that they could counter him with what they knew he was going to do. I was leaning towards that, except we faced 2 different Bears head coaches this year, and both of them, they either took us to the mat or took us to the wire. This Bears coach that just out-coached LaFleur, guys, he was in charge of pads 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, not even bullshitting. He was still sorting out, like, cafeteria fucking disputes between these guys. He was a low-level coach who was just trying to make sure there was enough pepperoni fucking pizza to go around.
Yeah.
Like, he was so inconsequential, and he just showed LaFleur up. So I think my familiarity theory is kind of gone, blown up by the Bears, but that's what I want the explanation to be.
He does well against a certain kind of coach and a certain status of team. I heard somebody say the other day that the Dolphins have a gimmick offense and that it only works against mediocre to bad team. And I could argue LaFleur also runs a very similar gimmicky offense that consistently works against mediocre to bad teams. But when it gets stopped or challenged, it struggles. And being a low T coach like he is, going up against these real men now in the division, coming in with a lot of energy, I think it's easy for things to compound. And I hope that we can focus and get back on track and remember what's important, and we can play a month of fucking solid football. We can play 4 good games. This team can get hot for 4 games. I just absolutely believe it. I just absolutely believe this team has what it takes to beat anyone in the playoffs right now. It's just, are we going to beat ourselves? So far this year, we've done it nearly every game. It'd be really nice if we didn't have 4 turnovers in this game, like we did it against the Eagles the first time we played them. The first game was a comedy of errors, guys. It was outrageous, like 40 mistakes in that game against the Eagles week 1. It was outrageous. And it was a preseason game. And that's what we kind of all said. That was the lesson learned. It's like, hey, but LaFleur doesn't take week 1 seriously. That's a preseason game. He doesn't take his week 1 seriously for years. That's not, with it's fine, whatever. Well, this game we just played is more of a preseason game than that, right? This really actually did not matter. It didn't even need to happen. Like it was flex. They could have just stopped it. For a second, I didn't think they were going to televise it. Do you guys have that experience at the beginning when all of a sudden they're playing the national anthem for the wrong game? And I'm like, why are we watching Tampa's national anthem? Are we going to go over to the Packer game at some point here?
That's all right. I think we needed a reset.
Oh, we should probably have taken a break like an hour ago. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're talking Green Bay Packers football.
I got another fun stat for you here, fellas. When winning the coin toss as a team, 97.8% of coaches in the league defer to get the ball back at halftime. You know who doesn't? Our head coach. The entire fucking year. And I just
log con, maybe. That's a log con.
I guess, man. I guess. Let's just say, let's talk advantages here. Like in reality, let's say we go out there and we just get a touchdown on the opening drive, and we have. We're like, oh, take the wind out of the fans. I've never felt that way because it's fucking 13 minutes left in the first quarter, and there's like a long fucking game. What's the advantage there? It's like, get your defense out there. Even if you get scored on, fine. You got time to rebuttal. It always seems to pay bigger dividends when you have that ball at the beginning of the second half. Almost always. And I'll tell you what else here. Another stat. We have given up a touchdown on that opening drive of the second half 68% of the season.
How many times have we scored on our opening drive? Like,
I don't, that stat's not important, Tyson, to my argument.
But yeah,
I'm at
I win.
37.6. Yeah,
It's not good enough. That's
it's not good enough.
Not good enough. No, I agree. That's pretty poor strategy. That's somebody jumping out that's sure that they're right. That's somebody who's like, I got something for you motherfuckers. Oh, I dialed it up. I can't even wait. Let's get out there. I can't wait. And then it doesn't work. And then he just has a hissy fit until about the middle of the second quarter.
The second thing I want him to be is not, I don't want him Dan Campbell ridiculous like on fourth down, like when you're on your own 30 and like going for it. And we've talked about this, but it keeps happening. The Bears game was like another example where we're close enough and you're kicking like 30-yard field goals. Dude, fucking go for it. Like let's figure this out before we go into the playoffs. Because if you want to win in the playoffs, you're gonna need that kind of aggressiveness. Tyson, you're shaking your head. What's your take?
I don't agree. I think that is a very popular position to be in right now. The go for it crowd. I understand that's something you think you're going to need to do, but I'm telling you, man, I just feel like in the playoffs, the people that are taking the points are going to win in the end. But the defenses are going to be better. It's going to be harder hits. There's going to be stuff that's not getting flagged that usually would. There's going to be less 5-yard easy pickups. There's going to be more punting. There just is. That's just it. Playoff football is harder. And I just have a feeling they're going to let them play.
Playoff football is very much goes from being like a middleweight fight to a heavyweight fight.
Exactly.
And in a middleweight fight, it's about your footwork and stamina and technique. In a heavyweight fight, it's just about hitting him in the gut as many times as you can to take his breath away. And a playoff game always hinges on that one or two, that trick play or that series of turnovers. It happens very quickly in playoffs because it is just such a heavyweight bout.
Okay, let me take you back to when we played Seattle in the 2021 NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl, I want to say. That was exactly what you two are describing. We kept getting down inside the 20 and we kept taking field goals and ownership of that game almost entirely. Now, I can tell you a fucking lot went wrong, but you need to put your foot on the throat of the opponent. I just completely disagree. It's like you gotta swing for the fences.
What if you keep missing and you're losing games by 2 points as a pattern? Boy, 3 points guaranteed sure would help us. How many fourth downs do we miss a game? 2, 3 sometimes we don't make? Well, that'd be fucking 6-9 points, wouldn't it? I would rather have the fucking points at this point. If we have done all the work, all the game planning, all of it, if you don't want to feel the letdown of getting nothing, I think the worst thing you can do for Matt LaFleur is waste his time. And that's exactly what's happening to him. You're getting your time wasted because none of it matters. It didn't work. You get the points. At least you got something for it. There's money on the board. It's progress. I don't want to be kicking field goals ever, but I just don't see our team built with an identity that can pick up consistent fourth downs. Even if they're 4th and 1, I'm nervous because we don't do the plays that the Eagles can. They have the fucking brotherly love shove. Or
I think we see the craft push in the playoffs. I think we see the craft push in this one for sure.
So where's it been all year? Where all these gotta have it plays? It's like if you
don't run those in the regular season. Those are playoff plays.
Other teams run those all year.
The Lions have been running them just out in the open.
And that's how you run a 4-down offense. That's when you can run a 4-down offense. When you're playing, there is no playoff plays. Their plays are their plays. They're playing their best shit, and they're coming up with new shit. But it's always they're giving you everything that they got. They're going full open bore because that's what they're designed to do. We're designed to do a higher difficulty plays, but like there's a big gap missing. Like where all this short, we used to run them. Why can't we run a fucking slant anymore? What happened to our team that we can't run ocean rub across the middle and have someone get open for a short dump off like we did to Romeo Doubs against the Cowboys in the playoffs last year? Like we used to, we have Tucker Kraft, like just give him shorter passes. Let him do his work. Give him a little bit of space. We have the players to do this, to run this offense. We can't or we won't. And if there really is that much that we're saving, I'm like, wow, you have a lot of confidence in us being able to pull off this stuff that we haven't seen. Awesome. This is Rumble in the Jungle, man. Like this is amazing if it actually works. But
So
if it
these
doesn't,
Packers going to beat the Eagles this weekend or what?
yes. Yes, they are. They're going to shock the world. We shook up the world. We shook up the world. That's what's going to happen. They're going to come in there. They're going to fucking change everybody's mind. Matt LaFleur is jumping back to the top of we're not going to be underdogs anymore because we're going to come in there and we're going to scheme their fucking face off. And that coach is a low T coach. I don't know if you've noticed the Eagles coach, but he's a pussy. Not the identity of that team. That team is tough and wild, young and awesome. And that coach makes Matt LaFleur look super cool. And he just made Saquon Barkley sit down. He forced Saquon instead of taking the single season rushing record. Didn't ask him. Told him, you're sitting down. Saquon's pissed. He even talks about it in the media. This guy is not connected to his team. He's a drawn up guy too. And I remember his opening press conference was way worse than any of Matt LaFleur's. So I just feel like there's an element there where Matt might actually be dominant over this guy. And that would really be benefiting us. And if we can get rolling, look out. Seeing Malik Willis and Jordan Love on the field at the same time.
Oh yeah, I was not a fan. I don't see the benefit there.
Okay, Ty, what did you feel when you saw that?
I felt like it was the right idea, just poorly executed. I felt like they'd drawn it up like 3 days before and had just trotted it out there without refining it. I don't know if Matt LaFleur runs practice anymore, but that would have been might actually have worked if they'd have practiced it.
That's chess, baby. That's what I saw. I saw something I've been asking for all year. Give me both those guys on the field at the same time. It didn't make sense to have Jordan as the wide receiver.
Where do you put him, Tyson? Where do you prefer?
You put Malik at wide out. Clearly, he's the athlete.
That keeps him guessing.
Keeps him guessing. It looks like we're really competent at that, right? Like, if we tried that again, that'd be pretty stupid. And they're just gonna run it anyway. So don't bother. And then we actually draw up something that's awesome and throw it backwards to our quarterback who throws it down the field. And they get like some fancy shit, like some Philly special action. I would be into that. I would love to see that. It made me hopeful that they're either gonna try some crazy shit or want you to believe they're gonna try some crazy shit in next week's game. Like that, I felt like there were plays that Matt put out there that were clearly, I want other teams to see this on tape. And that was one of them. Going to see something else with that before the end of the year. Unless this long con theory I have is not accurate, which is entirely possible, Mayhew. I'm not saying I got all the answers on how we win the Super Bowl. And this is all part of the plan. We got right where we want them, Mayhew.
Right where we want them.
We take a short break. We'll be right back.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Because you know what? I remember the moment I became a football fan. I don't remember shit about the game. I probably didn't even really understand the rules or understand how football worked. I just know I liked the way Brett Favre was out there playing football. I was, second grade?
No.
And that was the moment where it clicked. Right. And so I didn't actually remember the game, but I do remember some Brett Favre passes. And that's enough.
Do you remember not liking football and then liking football, or was it like your dad forced that into you as you're raised into that culture of we watch football?
Oh, that's a good question. They because my brother was always so many years ahead of me that they were infatuated, and it was honestly the first Super Bowl that we won. That run is when I got jacked about it, and then the second year started paying attention, and that's when we lost, and you feel that, and from then on it just kind of grew and grew and grew. But up until then, no, I was young and not paying attention. I was playing hockey and shit,
You were a Gretzky kid.
Gretzky kid.
For me, it was Benny Velez bet me $2.
Benny Velez, sorry, keep going.
I know. It's funny already, right? No, Benny Velez bet me $2 on the Miami Dolphins against the Dallas Cowboys, and the Miami Dolphins upset them, and I won $4 fucking. And I'm like, next Monday night, let's do this. I had no shit about anything, and Ben Velez took my money pretty much every week from there on out. But gambling made me fall in love with watching football and giving a shit about it. But I didn't really know about the Packers. when I really fell in love with them was when we lost to the Cowboys in the playoff run. It was a really disappointing game, but the game before it, and I think Jim Harbaugh was playing for the Colts, and they played the Steelers. That was one of the best games I'd ever seen. I thought that was just incredible. And like the quarterback had like a bloody hand. Everything about it was dramatic. And it came down right to the end and Steelers won. But I just remember that game being like, whoa, this is awesome. And I can't wait for the Packers. And then they got our fucking ass hammered by the fucking Cowboys in Dallas. Yeah, but that was after that I was all in.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
Look, I just want to put this out here, okay? You guys disagree with me. 4th down percentage in the league. And again, I'm not Tyson saying going for it every time on 4th down, but strategically, let's look. Okay. Number 1, Washington Commanders. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. This is an efficiency. Washington was 20 for 23. That's fucking nuts.
Wow.
Next in line, Kansas City. After that, Philly. After that, Denver. After that, Detroit. After that, the Rams. After that, the Buccaneers. After that, literally every top tier playoff team is doing this. I'm not trying to follow trends. I'm trying to say if you continue to kick field goals, you're going to fucking lose close games. And that's literally what we've done against the top tier teams in the NFL this year. Do what you want with it. We need to be aggressive in the playoffs.
No, you're right. I just want to run the triangle.
Where's Powell?
Jumpers. Some nice single, some nice 10 foot jumpers. Take the 2. Just take the 2. They're bound to miss those 3s at a point.
Meanwhile, Steph Curry's just like,
foosh, foosh. Yeah.
Now, boys, I can't keep that up forever. Coach, we're down 60 points.
Check out this silky 8-foot jumper. Oh, hey. Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. It's not a trend. It's the standard at this point. It's probably going to change. That's just how football is going to be. People are just going to go for them 4th down all the time. And you're right. All the teams that are successful and that I believe are good teams, you're right, are doing that. It's not that I don't want to do it, Mayhew. I just don't believe we're going to succeed. And that is where I'm like, I don't believe Matt believes it almost. At a point there, it feels like the confidence is too low as a team. Where's the gotta have it's? Where's the gotta have it plays? How do we not have those? They're everywhere. They're in Madden. They're in every play. They're in every playbook I've ever seen. I don't see them on this team, or we aren't making those choices. Really frustrating because there should be a under 2-second option that is easy and wide open and a gimme 4 yards. And that's all we need to be able to consistently get. Because if you get those 2 times in a row, you can go for them 4th down all day.
I talked earlier about the introduction of Josh Jacobs in the running game has been amazing, right? Where the throwing game, like it feels like we're kind of off rhythm. You guys saw the stat line they put up on the Bears. We had double passing yards, double running yards, and we were still down. Look, man, we can eat up clock all day and get inside the 20. You kick field goals, you're going to lose games. Whether you're a middleweight, Ty, or a fucking heavyweight, boy, you got to get in that end zone, my man.
You fumble the ball 4 times in the game, you're going to lose games, and then you give up the only kick return of the year. There's a lot of things that went into it, but you're right. There was a lot of errors, though. It feels like they compound. It's not double digits and now a triple-double, and we just keep going with them. So I'm hoping we can just play a clean game against the Eagles. I like our chances. We play clean against the Eagles, guys, just a clean game. Gotta have it plays. They're out. All the new shit, ready to go. Double play with Malik Willis and Jordan Love, blowing minds. They didn't know what to do. They'd never seen anything like it. It was a quadruple reverse touchdown. End arounds all day, whatever. It's got to work is the point. It's got to work. Don't give me any fucking horse shit that doesn't work.
Speaking of not working, have you guys ever seen like a worse interception than what Keenan Allen threw like during that game? He's like, I got nothing. Fuck it. Just put it up there.
It definitely, I've been in flag football games that like I've seen that kind of interception. Yeah, how far can I throw this? Oh, not far enough. Dang. I thought I had you. It's very late. Timing's everything, guys. That's the reality. That's life in a nutshell. Can't catch the wave at the wrong time. If you're lucky, you'll get crushed. We take a break. We'll be right back.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
Can't write that. No one would agree to write that.
no one would. Yeah. Sirianni's a blowhole.
Yeah, total blowhole.
That's about all people need to know is Matt LaFleur just has to have bigger nuts than that blowhole Sirianni.
It's a tough city to coach in. I feel like you're either loved or like about to be fired, like game by game.
always-
No.
always gonna be
Mayhew, you're
fired.
either loathed or about to be fired. There is no love for the
There's
head
no love.
coach of
That's
the
fair.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Ty and I came to a conclusion, a fear that I want to get off my chest of a potential of what Matt LaFleur could be in terms of like coach comp.
Ooh,
Um,
yes.
I've heard a lot of Marty Ball references lately because, he'd get to the Marty Schottenheimer. We get to the playoffs every year, have really good records, really great regular season records, and lose in the playoffs. I think he's more Andy Reid on the Eagles. My fear, he came in here as a fresh green play caller, had 1 year of actually calling plays, and he actually got an opportunity to get a job. And they're like, yeah, I don't care what it takes. I'll have that guy as their defensive coordinator. I don't give a shit. I'm just excited to have a job. This is exciting. You tell me I'm head coach? That's my badge? Woohoo! To go through this seasoning, to learn these lessons on the job. Unless you win a bunch of Super Bowls, you're going to lose the job. To then go be Chiefs era Andy Reid that knows all the shit and knows what to do and is ready to evolve and is like actually a good head coach and is just racking up Super Bowl rings at this point. To be training Matt LaFleur for his ultimate form. I need him to bloom this week against the Eagles. What's your purpose, Matt? Why were you put on this earth? Is it to be a football coach? I think that's what you believe. That's what this is all about. I think you're overcomplicating it. Just go be the coach. Just make good decisions and put the team in the best position to win. And I think we're going to win. I think he's thinking about too much. All that shit doesn't matter. All that matters is this week. And I want to see his best. And guys, I don't know that our team at its best. I don't know what that looks like. But I think that it could potentially be the best team in the entire NFL. And all it takes is someone else to not be playing their best. We could win against anybody. But we can't fuck up. Can't fuck up.
For those of you out there who don't know who Aaron Nagler is, you should look this gentleman up. But fellas, I know you are, and he's like this calming tone for me. Like every time I listen to like whatever he's got going on, it's like when I'm really burnt out or like low down, he just kind of gives like a little bit of clarity, And this last quote, he was like, "Look, I've been watching football since I was 3 years old, and I can't tell you how or why it happens or when, but all it takes is one spark. And I've seen teams come out of nowhere and make magic happen. It just takes like one spark." And I know that's just fairy tale like shit at like this point. No, it's not. You get on the road, you go into Philly and you handle your shit and you start stacking those successes. Like who knows what can happen? We're not exactly rolling in there on a high note, but maybe that's what this team needs is to feel as down as fucking possible, have everybody think you don't stand a chance, watch that spread at Vegas just like grow.
Feeling it. Yeah.
And maybe that's it. I don't know. Ty?
Yeah. No, you started to see it.
Absolutely. I knew a guy who he had like a mid-90s Honda Civic was the shell. But underneath was a 458 fucking twin turbo. And he'd go down to the drag race course and he would gin up the most money. The biggest bets of the night were that he was definitely going to fucking lose. And then he would just burn the fucking tires off that 800-pound car that was essentially just all motor. God, I am hoping that is the Packers this year. I hope we're showing up in the junkiest, beat-up looking car, and we're just fine with that. We're like, yeah, we know what this is. We know what we're doing here.
It's Trojan horsing them. We're tricking them. They think we suck. We've been setting them up all year, and we really laid it on thick. It ate Matt up. You could watch him torment himself as he knew what he had to do. I gotta put us in a position, but not get anyone hurt. And people got hurt. Oh, and he loves people. You know how Matt loves people.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
East Coast, West Coast question. Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith?
Oh, that's the easy one.
It's the easiest. Yeah. For
Yeah,
me.
it's obviously Barry Sanders.
I was never an Emmitt Smith guy. Like, I can't deny his numbers, but I never liked his style. I felt like he had the best offensive line of fucking all time. It seemed like a cakewalk. I don't know.
Randy Moss effect for me. In real time, I hate him so much. I can't even appreciate any gifts that he might possess. I can't enjoy any element of his greatness because I hated Randy Moss so fucking much. It was crazy. I hated that era Vikings, like all of them. I like the whole van. Like I hated those guys.
to this day, if you see Chris Carter in an airport, like he better watch himself.
But it was even after him, like the get the roll on era with
Culpepper. Oh,
those
man.
motherfuckers. I hate, and it was Reach too. He was running his mouth. I just fucking hated that era of the Vikings. I just remember Willie Henderson jumping over Corey Chavis like a cow over the moon. It was one of the greatest things. And I had a picture of that up on the fridge for a long time. But yeah, that's. But yeah, I hated him so much I couldn't enjoy it. I think that's the case with Emmitt Smith. I hated him so much after that Packers game, and then like for them consistently bullying everybody, including us. And the same thing, the big holes. But now you go back and look at that shit. Bro, Emmitt Smith was a fucking beast, dude. The way he runs is how our guy runs. I love that player comp that Brady gave. I see it completely.
Yeah.
Low to
he
the
puts
ground.
his shoulder down instead of going out of bounds.
He doesn't have the big shoulder pads, and they don't do that fucking back and forth thing like they did in the 90s all the time. But still, like it's he just got 4 yards or more every time. Every time. It I don't know. He was pretty incredible. There was so many good running backs back then, though, so it didn't matter. Everyone had a crazy good one.
Y'all remember the first game you ever saw at Lambeau Field?
I do. I went with Dave to a Saints game.
Oh, I was at that game with you.
Yeah, that was my first game.
Ah,
Yeah, you made me walk out and look at the bowl. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh man.
Hey, close your eyes, walk out here, walk out. You're ready, open your eyes. And it was amazing. I've been trying to do that for someone every time ever since, and I've never been on time, Mayhew. Not fucking once to get in time to like take it in before the flyover and like that was the only time that I got the whole show. I think still to this day, except for that fucking Lions game. Yeah.
It's funny. The first game I ever saw was against the Eagles in 1998. So my
that's
my
a good one.
My uncle had they had season tickets to their family, and they would always give us like the coldest games, which my mom like hated. But it was like, hey, we were like old enough to kind of like appreciate it. My brother, we wanted to go. This is like November. I'm looking up the date here, and we won 24-16. Wow. And from then on out, man, I had a winning streak of like 8 games in a row. I want to say we just always got the right game. What was the score of that Saints game? Was that the 52-3 game, or is that a different one?
I don't think it was 52-3.
That was the first. I think it was Drew Brees' first year as a Saint, because my brother and I were talking about the other day, and it was Brianna's first game, where we were dating, and my parents like brought her up there with us. And I remember the Saints got a field goal on the opening drive, and it was like, okay. And then we proceeded to score 52 unanswered points. It didn't even feel like a football game. It was like a party at that point. You're like sort of paying attention, but it's like, another TD. All right. Oh man.
Yeah. We talking Green Bay Packers football.
The reason I think the Eagles are a great matchup against us is they're one of the only teams in football that pass outside in. They don't play inside out of offense. They throw to their outside receivers a lot. And it seems like we wouldn't be good there, right? We got Nixon, we got Carrington Valentine, but they don't think those guys can fucking play. But I think that those guys are in the fucking zone right now, and I think they can play. I hope that we can get them in a position that they're throwing the ball more than they want and relying on him rolling right and throwing late like he did in that first matchup. I went back and watched that game, man. Our defense played them very well. Like we played Jalen Hurts extremely well in that game.
Offensively, like we know they got some killer receivers, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts obviously has been in concussion protocol. So, gentlemen, that being said, we have a very tall task. Obviously, we're on the road. We're going to Philly. We played them once this year, all that. I want to talk a little about this defense, okay? Being led by Vic Fangio. For those of you out here who don't know, this has been one of the most wildly successful defensive coordinators, successful everywhere except for when he was the head coach of Chicago, because no one can really be successful there.
Impossible.
But number one overall ranked defense. So I did a little bit of digging today. I was like, man, I actually didn't know. You go into passing, they're ranked number 10. You go into run defense, they're only ranked like number 8. They don't actually have an interception from their cornerbacks on the entire year. None of this adds up, right?
Yeah.
You dig into the details. I read this really incredible article where they are the most sound play together defense where there is not a single weakness at any level of play. No one's trying to stand out. They play for each other, mistake-free football. And even worse, they've held their opponents over the past 12 weeks under 14 points. That has not been done since the Chicago Bears in '85. Cooper DeJean, someone we were very excited about, draft day, ended up going to Philly. Since he stepped into the slot role in week 4 when they were in 2-2, they haven't lost a single game. I love my team. I am hopeful, but make no mistake, we're going into the Lions' den here.
Well, if it's going to happen this year, we're making history anyway you slice it. We're the youngest team in the NFL. They've never won a Super Bowl. This would be the youngest team to ever do that. If we're going to make history, what we've seen last month of the Green Bay Packers is not enough to get it done. I think that is clear. There are 3 dominant defenses in the NFC. 3 of them. We've had a real hard time with all of them. The Eagles are one of them. I think it's time for us to realize why people are afraid of us. It's got to happen this week, or we can afford to not do it this year. And if that's the way you're looking at this year, then I got a big problem with those last 2 games. If this is not a long con, this is, in fact, a man melting down and leading us to back into a playoff. If this is on Matt, this changes his whole dynamic. If we're a first round out here, I don't know, man. Why are we worse than last year? Why didn't we get at least one? We should have been able to, at this point, be prepared enough for a playoff game. I expect some kind of fireworks, or this really exposes to end in that wave. I believe that we're a better team than that. I don't know. Maybe it's not based in logic or evidence or stats. I don't go on all that science all the time. Sometimes you just feel. Sometimes you just got to have a thing called faith. It was what it's going to take to win this game. We got to focus up, folks. We've talked about a lot of shit today, all kinds of stuff. But at this point, it's about one thing, one game, one chance. That's against the Eagles. That's coming up on Sunday. This is it. The whole year has come up to this moment. So we need to focus and we need to believe and have faith in this team. We don't need to come into this game afraid and looking for someone to blame. Those are your choices as a fan. Those are your 2. That's your devil and angel. Take it seriously. For fuck's sakes, cheese up on D. You got to cheese up on D. The cheese up on D story has been spreading. They talked about it on Poor Man's Packer podcast. This is becoming a thing. It's a movement. Everything we've talked about has been a drill. This is the real fucking thing, folks. This is the real thing, people. You got to be ready. You got to have your cheese sweating. This game matters. What did you eat the game against the Saints? You got to make that. I'm making brat patties, okay? That's a fact. I'm going to make bird meat too, because we are playing against the Eagles. This is going to cost me a lot of money, but it's not about me, and it's not about you. It's about the team. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
Tyson, this is also the first I've ever seen somebody highlight in black and have the text in white. What the fuck,
So
dude?
hard. I keep clicking to I think it gets highlighted.
I'm like, I don't know how to.
I'm getting seasick.
Yeah. We're talking Green Bay Packers football.
Welcome back to Dads and Chaz.
Yeah, for those of you who weren't aware, Craig T. Nelson, the absolute legend. Ty, you know what I'm talking about, coach?
Yeah.
No, nothing.
The show?
Okay. The show coach. Okay, great. Anyway, so the last game he He came out and sang the national anthem at this Bears game. And I'm like, why? Do a little bit of research. He actually stars in a movie called Green and Gold coming out at the end of January here, where he plays a farmer in Wisconsin that bets his entire farm, his entire life, basically, on the idea that the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl that year. All of our loyal listeners, go out there, hit Green and Gold, watch that trailer, and if you don't tear up, then you just don't have a fucking heart. I just want to put that out.
Farmer. He did we win that year? Tell me that was 2010.
Tyson, they don't ruin the story. I feel like it might have been 96, if I'm being honest, Fingers crossed.
So
No,
close.
it's like Flash 2, 1982.
Oh, he lost it all.
Yeah,
It is real bad.
Yeah. Well, I wanted.
Oh, we're laughing at his misfortune, but it is funny. It is funny. Earlier, we talked to my son. He popped on the show for a second, gave you a 9-year-old's perspective on what that last game meant. I want to remind you, it didn't matter. We're grown-ups here, but this game matters. Whatever you got, bring it. Empty your tank. I'm telling you, this game is what it's all about. Take it serious. Get some fresh gear. You got playoff socks? Have you even have socks that are from this year's print? You're going to need to go get some socks because that's going to help our team. I'm going to go get a fresh pair. Mine have worn out. I can tell. We took a break in our house from the Magic this last week. We didn't cheese up on D. We didn't do any of it. Chaz and I, he put the ball away. He didn't flip his coin. He's got a lot going on, but it's a whole system. And we were like, this game doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
We're not using the Magic. Not like what I saw. So this week, you better believe all the magic is coming out. I'm bringing out a lucky guest I haven't had over all year to my house to hopefully up the ante a little bit. You guys got any plans for the game?
I'm not the lucky guest.
You could be a lucky guest. I'd be lucky to have you. I'd love to have you. You can join as well.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything going on.
Mike Kelly.
Oh,
Mike Kelly's coming out of retirement.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a good time.
It will. Mayhew, you having a shindiggery? Or you going parents, in-laws?
I'm just gonna sit under a blanket in my room in the dark,
Watch it on your phone.
eating chicken wings and just sweaty cheese and just hoping for the best, man.
All right. Well, Mayhew's taking the fear blame route, but everybody can take their own route. Everybody's got. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. You can go your own way. That's what Fleetwood Mac said. What was the song I was supposed to talk about tonight? I was supposed to mention a song, Mayhew. I was like, I'm gonna say those lyrics all. Oh yeah. Remember, you only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Oh, this opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Yo, this is right. This can't benefit the Lions because they're on a bye week right now. So I'm gonna say that this is like
Risky.
that Eminem song. This is like that Eminem song
Risky.
because that's what you got. One shot. We got to do it. We got to do it. Romeo Dobbs, Double Dome Dobbs. I'm looking your way. Big game. Who's the player of the game for you, Mayhew? Offensive. We'll go offense. I already took Romeo.
Offensive player.
Yeah, playoff Romeo's back, baby.
Dude, I'm going to take our boy Tucker Kraft, and I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit confused how he doesn't get every time this guy catches the ball. It's like 10 yards. I feel like we talked about that last episode, and he did it again. It's like he gets going early, and then we kind of get away from it. Yeah, we know he can block. It's like let's infuse him into the offense a little bit more.
And we got Musgraves, who's a mismatch. Like we are not utilizing these guys. We aren't even. They're just out there completing the scheme. Like I want stuff schemed for those guys to mismatch because those might be 2 top 5 tight ends in a year. We might be looking at 2 of the best ones in the league, and we got them right on our own team. I'd love to see that.
Tyson, those are the thoughts that make me somewhat believe in what you're saying with LaFleur, where he's got a bag of tricks, and It's like, man, okay, now is the time. Now is the time.
He's a more coach, guys. You didn't answer my question. He's a more coach. He is not a do what we do and we do it well. He's I got a new game plan next week that's going to blow their socks off, and the team takes a big sigh and is like, all right, let's figure this out. This is going to be tricky. And then somehow we get a bunch of penalties, and I don't get it. Why are we not good? I just don't understand why this team's not able to get it done. This is going to be a big reveal.
Ty, offensive player.
I think going into this one, obviously the hype and all the expectation is going to be on this running back versus running back situation of Jacobs and Saquon. I think that's the spotlight. But I think if we win this one, it's because of Jordan Love. I have not picked Jordan Love to be the hero of this story often enough. I think this is where Jordan Love picks up that banner of a champion. And if we win this thing, Josh Jacobs is going to be impactful. He's going to have a great game. He's going to do cool things, maybe even set another Packer record. But I'm looking for Jordan Love to be the motherfucking man on Sunday.
I got goosebumps over here. Sorry, Tyson, go ahead.
As a believer of locational magic as well, there is something to a location where things happen. Aaron Rodgers took over for Brett Favre in Texas Stadium in Dallas, where he is unfucking stoppable when he plays in there. Jordan Love took over for Aaron Rodgers in Eagles Stadium, where he was unfucking stoppable and looked like a real quarterback for the first time. He played other games. He played before that. That was the game where he looked great. I want to believe that he's just going to play clean ball in that building. We didn't play them last time there. We played in Brazil. That doesn't count. There was amazing asses everywhere. There's no way they could win that game. Okay.
Plus the street food made our offensive line throw up all over the place.
Just the runs all day. Yeah. I got final score prediction, Tyson.
Well, I got no defensive player of the game because I feel like this is important too. They are convinced our linebackers suck balls, guys. They are looking at us and they're like, these guys can't cover at all. So all we got to do is that's why I want short passing, because I see it working every week against us. And that's just because they know how to take advantage of our linebackers and that gap between the safeties and the linebackers. And it's easy to do. But if Quay Walker comes back, he's expected to come back, and he plays like Quay Walker did a couple of times this year, where he looked like a very explosive pass defending off-ball linebacker. If we can get him back there and he plays really well, I think that's a huge difference maker. And if he can have a career game like Romeo Doubs did last year, it changes the narrative of his entire career. This is a big game for him. Big game. And he's going to be my player of the game.
I think, again, because the focus is going to be running back versus running back, that both of these head coaches are going to try to outsmart each other. And they're going to be like, oh, everybody's looking at the running back matchup. Well, guess what I have schemed up in the past? And I think Xavier McKinney gets not one, but 2 interceptions off of Jalen Hurts to seal the fate of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers victory.
Nobody throws more to outside receivers than the fucking Eagles.
And he's so confident because he's got
a problem for us. That works.
Yep.
It's not looking good for Evan Williams to come back at the safety position. And we didn't touch on this earlier, but it was the first sighting last week of Kadapo. Yeah, Kadapo, the rookie safety, right? I think that might.
Kadapo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My point being is you're absolutely right. They're similar to us where they want to run the ball. So it's either you load the box against Saquon, but Tyson, like you said, the hardest part for us all year long has been the middle of the field. They've been picking out our linebackers. They want to throw to the outside. That's going to be prevalent this game. And I think Keyshawn Nixon has actually stood out in a big manner. They're going to try to pick on Valentine. I need Carrington to play the fucking game of his life. I need him to be the Sam Shields of like the 2010 playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. Sunday. What we complained about after week 1 was Jair Alexander talking all that shit and not backing it up against the Eagles. He got out there, started jawing with these guys, seemed to pump them up, and then they just fucking dunked on him, like one after another. I'm curious to see how we approach the matchup this time. Can our team play bump and run? Like, do we ever do that? I wish we would. I wish we'd jam guys at the line a little more. It might actually get us some pass rush, but you just don't see it. There's so much you don't see. I just don't understand if we're saving it. Man.
I think Hafley doesn't trust it, man. Otherwise,
I agree.
That's what he wants. That's the defense he wants to play. And the pass rush isn't getting home, so he has to get creative, bring 5 guys. He doesn't want to.
I think that it's the same story with Matt. I think he feels like he can't trust everybody or Jordan to do the whole thing. And the way that they found success is doing things a certain way. But boy, that man coverage stat is telling. I did not know that. And that charts. That makes a lot of sense. So I really hope that we have some man beaters drawn up for this game. And also, I just hope we get a healthy helping of Malik Heath. I think he's going to be a difference maker in this game. If not, it's going to be Alex Magoo. We're going to get Alex Magoo in here. Listen, we need a third quarterback / wide receiver. He's our guy.
Man, if Shane from Shawano were here, he'd be Sean Clifford's going to get called up. I guarantee it. It's just like a backup plan. And maybe that's the saving grace. I don't know.
Magoo won a UFL championship, Tyson. You are aware that Magoo has a championship belt, courtesy of the United Football League.
And he has the balls to switch to wide receiver at a young age of 30.
It makes sense.
And I guess he hurt Jair in practice playing wide out. And that was even another reason why they kind of cut him, put him on the practice squad. He's
going all Rudy out there like it's the Super Bowl.
God damn it, Alex! Got a little excited, dude. I'm sorry. You okay? Oh shit. Well, guys, any final wishes you have to the last guaranteed game we have of the season?
If you're a new listener, run. If you're a long-time listener, what are you still doing here?
No,
everybody enjoy the playoffs.
Listen, people, we try really hard, okay? We do our fucking best. I don't know what you want from me. I mean, we really do our best here. We do our work. And I'm just glad that you trust us to tell you something that you needed in your brain that you didn't have before. We're happy to provide that for you on a weekly or whenever we're convenient for us basis.
We beat the Eagles in Philadelphia, then we go beat the Lions in Detroit.
Now, does anyone know
after
what
we
the
beat
lineup?
The Lions in Detroit, yeah, no, that's what it is. Look, we're the 7th seed. They're the 1 seed. It doesn't matter what happens. All that shit in between does not matter. The lowest seed plays the highest seed. So it's Eagles, Detroit, and then it would be either Buccaneers. It would be one of the other 4 teams in the NFC Championship.
You know what that is, boys? That's a hashtag revenge tour. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I love these guys. Did you guys know I love these guys? These guys are great. Everyone's great. You guys are great. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing. Feel free to write us a comment or reach out to us and send us money or airline tickets, Packers tickets. We were very interested in. We would be mostly donations, but we would take those. And you want us to go to the draft next year? We're going to maybe start a GoFundMe for Chaz to get a filling.
Hashtag
revenge tour. Fuck these birds up. Cook some bird. Don't forget. Coop, you want to say night-night? Bye-bye. Say see you next time. Thanks for watching Two Dads and a Chaz. We'll see you after the game. Go back. Go back, go. You say go back, go. Go back, go. Go back, go. No. Okay. Well, guys, that was just fun.
Two Dads and a Chaz, putting trophies on the wall. Two Dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Not exactly qualified, but answers the call. Two Dads and a Chaz, talking Green Bay Packers football. We gonna break it all down, probably leave out some facts. We gonna make some statements that we'll likely regret. Mostly gossip and rumors made straight off the top. So crank up the air conditioner, cause it's bound to get hot. Two Dads and a Chaz, you know we live it and we live it right. Two Dads and a Chaz, we gonna break down football for you tonight. Besides them rings and putting trophies on the wall. Trophies, y'all. Two Dads and a Chaz is talking Green Bay Packers football. Yeah, we talking Green Bay Packers football.